My best friend, who had always been terrified of dogs, suddenly told me she wanted to buy a pet dog. At that moment, I knew she had been reborn too. In my past life, I bought a snow white poodle at the city pet market. From the moment that Poodle entered my home, good luck followed continuously. My supervisor, who had always been against me, proactively proposed a promotion and a raise for me. A difficult client I had been unable to sign for ages specifically requested me to handle their contract. Most importantly, the handsome and wealthy CEO of my company got down on one knee and proposed to me after a party, saying he wanted to make me his wife. I accepted his proposal and even invited my best friend to the wedding to witness my moment of happiness. Yet, on my wedding day, my best friend, out of jealousy, stabbed me. On what grounds does someone like you get to marry the rich, handsome CEO, while I have to work 3 shifts, like a horse or an ox, for other people? When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the exact day the two of us went to the pet market to buy a dog. This poodle is so cute. Sir, how much? I'll take this one. At the pet market, my best friend Vivian Lowe, who had always been afraid of dogs, excitedly rushed over to the seller without even haggling and immediately scooped up the white poodle. Then she quickly hugged it tightly to her chest, as if afraid I would snatch it away. Seeing this, I was certain she had been reborn too. Sure enough, Vivian, while hugging the poodle, glanced at me smugly. So sorry, Cassie. I know you wanted this one too, but I got to it first. Soon, I'll be getting lucky, getting rich, and who knows, maybe I'll even meet my Prince Charming. She was incredibly excited, her eyes looking at me as if she had already won. But I just replied nonchalantly, I never wanted to buy that dog. In my past life, I only bought it because the seller pretended to be pitiful, saying it was sick and he was going to abandon it. I felt sorry for it, so I bought it. I never expected it would change my entire life. Hearing me say that, Vivian's eyes widened in disbelief. How can that be? In the last life, you clearly said. She stopped abruptly, as if afraid I would realize something, glanced at me, and fell silent. But I knew very well what she had left unsaid. Because in the last life, after I bought that dog, everything went unexpectedly smoothly. My supervisor, who had disliked me, proactively gave me a raise and a promotion. The difficult client insisted on me handling the contract. And most importantly, the handsome, wealthy CEO had knelt and proposed to me after a party, wanting to make me his wife. I accepted and even invited Vivian to the wedding to witness my happiness. I never expected that on my wedding day, out of jealousy, she would stab me. On what grounds do you get to marry the rich CEO, while I have to work my fingers to the bone day and night? And when I opened my eyes, I had been reborn. The next day, Vivian excitedly brought the poodle to the company. The moment she walked in, she couldn't wait to show off her new baby to all our colleagues. At the same time, she deliberately glanced towards the boss. Sure enough, the supervisor quickly glanced past me and then looked at her, his face surprised. Why did you buy this poodle? Aren't you afraid of dogs? Hearing that, Vivian immediately retorted. Since when was I afraid of dogs? I love cute little poodles like this one. I'm going to raise it for the rest of my life. Hearing her say that, the boss's expression changed slightly. He was silent for a moment before telling Vivian to bring the dog into his office. Vivian immediately followed him in. A few minutes later, she came out and rushed straight to my desk, unable to hide her excitement. Cassie, I bet you didn't expect this, did you? I got a promotion and a raise. From now on, I'm your direct supervisor. Next, I'm going to complete a major project, become a senior manager, and then finally marry. She deliberately gave a meaningful glance, her face both shy and smug. She didn't forget to shoot me a disdainful look. But you're not like me. For the rest of your life, you'll just be a wage slave and a 996 grind. Don't even dream of being like me. 996 refers to working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week. With that, she hugged the poodle and left smugly. I watched her retreating figure and smirked. If she wanted to get the good luck from that dog, then she had to be prepared to bear the disaster it brought as well. From then on, Vivian began to rise through the ranks at the company like a kite in the wind. The HR department quickly announced her promotion and raise. The leadership also continuously praised her in meetings, saying she was a very capable employee. Just a few days later, a series of clients also proactively came to her, specifically requesting Vivian to be in charge of their contracts. She was like an arrogant peacock, holding her head so high, she looked down on me as if I weren't even worthy of her notice. Cassie, you must be so jealous right now, right? But it's useless to be jealous. Who told you that you're not as pretty as me and not as capable as me? It's best if you start sucking up to me now. Who knows, maybe after I marry into a prestigious family, I can let you be a maid in my house. With that, she walked away in her 4-inch heels, her presence overwhelming as she left the office. The colleagues around were already fed up with her arrogant attitude lately and started gossiping behind her back. This Vivian must be possessed. She just got a tiny promotion and she's already acting so high and mighty. Today she even threatened me not to get on her bad side. Said she's about to marry into a rich family. A rich family? As if she's worthy. She bought a dog and now she thinks she's a noble lady? Don't even mention it. She not only calls herself a noble lady, but also says she's about to become the CEO's wife. In her dreams. Everyone laughed at Vivian's delusions, but only I knew that those words were all true. She was indeed about to marry into a prestigious family, become the wife of the company's CEO, and soar in a single step. But that would also be the beginning of her nightmare. Soon after, thanks to signing several large contracts in a row, Vivian became the employee of the quarter. The company held a celebratory party for its business results, and Vivian was ecstatic, because she knew that in the previous life, it was at this very party that I had made the CEO, Sebastian Thorne, fall in love with me at first sight. He not only publicly expressed his feelings, but also knelt and proposed to me in front of everyone, turning me from a small employee into the CEO's wife overnight. At that time, Vivian must have been driven mad with jealousy. So, in this life, the moment she heard about the party, she immediately got dolled up, wearing the exact same dress as I had in the previous life. The same shoes, the same hairstyle, the same lipstick color. Everything was an identical copy. There was only one thing she forgot, the most important detail of that party, the poodle. Sure enough, the moment she arrived at the party, Vivian's eyes were glued to Sebastian Thorne from afar. She was about to walk over when he suddenly turned his head to look at her, then immediately strode towards her amidst all the curious gazes. Vivian couldn't hide her joy and pretended to be shy. Mr. Thorne, where's the poodle? Why didn't you bring it? Sebastian's voice was cold and urgent. As he spoke, he grabbed Vivian's wrist and questioned her directly. Vivian was stunned, completely shocked that Sebastian would know about the dog. She stammered, "It was barking nonstop today. I thought it wasn't well, so I took it to the vet." She wasn't lying. She really had taken the poodle to the hospital because it had been very weak lately. In my past life, after I got that poodle, I took incredibly good care of it. I thought it was malnourished, so I often cooked nutritious soups for it and took it with me wherever I went. Even when I was at work, I would leave it in my car, just afraid that something might happen to it. Under my care, its condition improved a lot, and its fur became much smoother. As a result, I was so tired I fell ill. But in this life, Vivian didn't have the time to care about that poodle. She was solely focused on getting the CEO. So she had decisively tossed the dog into the pet hospital and left it there. Hearing her, Sebastian's face immediately darkened. Who gave you the right to take it to a pet hospital? Those places are full of animals. How could you leave it there? Vivian was shocked by his outburst and reflexively retorted, "But it is an animal." Shut up! Sebastian's face grew even uglier. He snapped at Vivian and then, without another word, dragged her away, ignoring the curious stares of everyone present. I was curious, so I quietly followed them. Unsurprisingly, they went straight to the pet hospital where the poodle was being kept. It was barking frantically in its cage. The moment it saw Sebastian, it became even more agitated, its eyes welling with tears. Seeing this, Vivian quickly picked it up. Although it was unclear why Sebastian was asking about this dog on the way there, she had vaguely remembered how meticulously I had taken care of it in the previous life. Therefore, she immediately put on a show of loving the dog in front of Sebastian. "Oh, my baby. Mommy just left you here for a little while. Why are you so scared? Come here, let mommy give you a hug." Under her cooing, the poodle finally calmed down and lay obediently in her arms. Sebastian's gaze, when he looked at Vivian, also softened, even carried a hint of affection. I never knew you were so gentle. I like girls who love animals the most. May I ask, do you have a boyfriend? Vivian's face immediately flushed red. She had finally heard the words she had been waiting for. She quickly shook her head. I don't. Mr. Thorne, I mean Sebastian, I don't have a boyfriend. Really? The corner of Sebastian's lips curled up slightly. He stepped forward and took her hand. Well, now you do. Vivian thought she was dreaming. Her face flushed to the tips of her ears, and unable to hold back any longer, she threw herself into Sebastian Thorne's arms. Sebastian hugged her back, his movements incredibly gentle and tender. But I saw in the depths of his eyes was disgust. Just then, the veterinarian called Vivian to the front desk to pay. Vivian was extremely annoyed but didn't dare to show it in front of Sebastian. She had to grit her teeth, temporarily let him go, and walk to the counter. As her back disappeared, Sebastian's face turned cold again. He walked over to the snow-white poodle, knelt down, and said softly, "Don't be impatient. Just another half a month and it will all be over." Hearing that, my heart seemed to clench. Half a month. Sebastian, can he not wait any longer? The next morning, the moment I stepped into the company, I heard colleagues whispering, Vivian is a real vixen. She actually managed to snag CEO Thorne. I heard CEO Thorne even publicly confirmed that he's dating her. I also heard it was love at first sight for him. Not only are they public, but they're about to get married. No way! What did Vivian need to get so lucky? She's really marrying into a prestigious family? Are the standards for the rich that low now? Amidst the gossip, Vivian appeared, decked out from head to toe in designer brands, wearing sunglasses, with someone who looked like a bodyguard following behind her. She took off her sunglasses, her arrogant gaze sweeping over everyone, her tone haughty. I told you I would marry into a prestigious family, and you all didn't believe me. From now on, remember to be a little more polite when you see me. I am now the CEO's wife. Then she walked up to me. Cassie, you must be so jealous right now, right? We're both working class, but now I've become your boss. Here, pour me a glass of water. I stood up, my face expressionless as I looked at her. You and Sebastian have only met once, and he proactively asked to be your boyfriend. Don't you find that strange? What's strange about it? It's only natural for men to be crazy about beautiful women. An ugly duckling like you. How would you understand? The more she spoke, the more agitated she became, deliberately stepping closer to me, her finger jabbing hard at my forehead. I don't mind you being jealous. Let me be blunt. In half a month, I'm marrying Sebastian, officially becoming the young madam of the Thorne family. If you know what's good for you, you should be on your knees sucking up to me right now. Otherwise, I can fire you whenever I want. I wasn't worried about being fired, but if I couldn't see the final outcome for Vivian, I wouldn't be able to rest easy. After a moment's thought, I obediently poured her a glass of water and held it out in front of her. Please have some water, Madam CEO. Hearing me say that, Vivian was incredibly smug and burst out laughing. Then she threw the entire glass of water on me before leisurely walking away. The colleagues around were furious on my behalf, all of them indignant. But I just let out a small laugh. Just half a month. I really want to see how long Vivian can stay so smug. Finally, the day of Vivian and Sebastian's wedding arrived. Wanting to show off, she even deliberately video called me. The moment I answered the call, she immediately pointed the camera at her face. Cassie, I bet you've never seen a wedding dress this beautiful or a diamond ring this sparkling in your entire life, have you? It makes sense. Who told you to be so poor and provincial? You deserve to be trampled under my feet for the rest of your life. From now on, your job will also depend on me. How funny is that? I stared intently at the background behind her in the video where the wedding was set up. There was no wedding dress, no splendid hall, no outdoor piano. There was only a single, black cross. This strange layout was exactly the same as at my wedding in my previous life. Finally, the moment I had been waiting for all this time had arrived. And the secret of why the poodle brought good luck was about to be revealed. Just as I was tensing up and watching the screen, a low female voice suddenly sounded from outside the video frame. "Sebastian, is this the gift you prepared for Honey?" I shivered and gasped. This voice was identical to the one I had heard before I died in my previous life. Who was it? Who was talking to Vivian? It was clear Vivian had heard it too. She immediately turned her head. Who's talking? She panned her phone around, discovering that in the room, there was only her and the poodle. No one else. She immediately turned the blame on me. "Cassie, are you playing some ghostly trick again? What gift for a poodle? This is my wedding. If there's a gift, it's for me." But I wasn't the one who had spoken those words. I faced the screen, feeling more and more that something was wrong. Vivian was about to mock me further when Sebastian's voice suddenly rang out. "Vivian, are you ready yet?" Vivian immediately brightened and turned around. "I'm ready, Sebastian. Do you think my wedding dress is beautiful?" Before she could finish her sentence, a slap landed squarely on her face. Sebastian roared in anger. "Who told you to wear a wedding dress? I have already prepared a white ceremonial gown for you. You are only allowed to wear that one." Vivian stumbled and fell to the ground, stunned. But today is my wedding. Why are you making me wear such a tattered old dress? And there are bloodstains on it." Hearing this, I immediately remembered my own wedding in the previous life with Sebastian. At that time, he had also made me wear an old, dirty white dress, saying it was a family tradition, the ceremonial gown the bride must wear on her wedding day. In my past life, I was blinded by love and never thought there was anything suspicious behind it. Yet in this life, Vivian was also being asked to wear that dress, and when she refused, Sebastian flew into a rage. This was enough to prove that this was absolutely not just a matter of tradition. Because Sebastian had suddenly entered, Vivian had also forgotten that she was on a video call with me and was just arguing with him. The more Sebastian spoke, the angrier he got, and another slap landed. "Who do you think you are to complain about Honey's dress? I'm letting you wear it as a favor to you. To be chosen by me is your destiny. You'd better be obedient. Otherwise, don't blame me for getting nasty." Vivian was dazed by the slaps. She held her red, swollen face and looked up at Sebastian. "Sebastian, what are you talking about? Didn't you say you loved me, that you wouldn't marry anyone but me? Then why are you hitting me? Why have you become so scary?" Hearing this, Sebastian let out a faint laugh, his voice full of contempt. "You? Go take a look at yourself. You think I really love you? I'd have to be blind to like someone like you. I'm marrying you only because Honey chose you. I thought you knew your place, but I never expected you to be so clueless. Just looking at you makes me sick." After speaking, he was about to raise his hand to hit her again. Vivian, seeing she couldn't dodge in time, was so scared she squeezed her eyes shut. But just then, a low female voice sounded again. "That's enough, Sebastian. If you ruin her face, how am I supposed to use it later?" Vivian was stunned, her face instantly turning pale. She looked around frantically. "Who? Who's talking? Who just called your name, Sebastian? Did you hear that?" Vivian scrambled to hug Sebastian, her face full of fear and unease, thinking she was having an auditory hallucination. But at this moment, Sebastian shoved her away in annoyance, turned and walked to the corner of the room, picking up the white poodle that was still lying quietly on the silk carpet. The dog's mouth opened, and it spoke, looking at Vivian with mocking eyes. "You idiot. You still don't realize you were brought here to die, do you?" On the other side of the video screen, I immediately covered my mouth, gasping in shock. I hadn't guessed wrong. That poodle, it could actually talk. In my past life, I had accidentally heard Sebastian talking to it and had even heard it reply. My past life, I had accidentally heard Sebastian talking to it, and accidentally heard Sebastian talking to it and had even heard it reply. At that time, I thought I was hallucinating, but now I was certain. After I died in my previous life, Sebastian had been in a panic, rushing to get me to the emergency room. Even though he knew I was dead, he stubbornly insisted on trying to save me. At that time, I thought he couldn't handle the shock of his wife dying on their wedding day. But then I heard him say to the poodle, "It's all that idiot Vivian's fault for ruining our plan." Now that Cassie is dead, we can't use her body anymore. We have to find a replacement. At that time, the dog lying in his arms also spoke, its voice full of anger. This is insane! That Vivian, she must be punished severely. We've been preparing for so long, and it was ruined in an instant. At that time, I thought that because I had died and become a spirit, I could hear the voices of animals. I never imagined that the poodle could already talk. No, that's not right. I should say, it was originally a person. Before I could fully understand what was happening, I was reborn again. Although I didn't know what Sebastian was plotting, I was sure they were hiding an extremely terrifying secret. And that was also the reason he suddenly wanted to get married. I never expected that Vivian would also be reborn. She had snatched everything that was mine in the previous life. But because of that, I had a chance to see the truth of the matter. At this moment, Vivian had completely collapsed. She pointed at the poodle, her whole body trembling. It's not an animal? How can it talk? Sebastian sneered. You're the animal. Honey was just accidentally trapped in this poodle's body. She temporarily has to parasitize its body to survive. Once she finds her real body back, she will naturally become human again. The poodle also let out a cold laugh, its terrifying, greedy eyes staring intently at Vivian's body. If it weren't for an idiot like you disobeying, I would have succeeded long ago. Vivian finally seemed to realize something, her voice trembling. Find her body back? You mean you want to use my body for this animal to possess? In her past life, Vivian had only seen the halo of luck the poodle brought me. So in this life, all she thought about was money and fame. She never imagined something so horrifying could happen. Her entire worldview was now collapsing. Shut your mouth! Sebastian couldn't stand it anymore and kicked her again. You're the animal! Now go change your clothes, wear the ceremonial gown I told you to, and stand by in the bedroom. At midnight, the souls will be swapped. Then your job will be done. Vivian's face was ashen. She now truly understood everything, and her brain began to work again. Soul swap. That means the soul of this animal. No, of this woman will enter my body and my soul will be trapped in this dog. She finally understood Sebastian's goal and immediately scrambled up in a panic, crying and begging. Mr. Thorne, I was wrong. I shouldn't have been so vain. Please spare me. No, you've got the wrong person. The one you want is Cassie. She's the one who raised this poodle. I just stole it. It was the same in the last life. Please, I'm begging you, go find Cassie to swap souls with. Don't choose me. I don't want to become an animal. Seeing Vivian figure everything out and lunge towards the phone, I quickly disconnected the video call, clutching the phone in my hand, my face pale. It was indeed a very elaborate conspiracy. It turned out, even if Vivian hadn't stabbed me in the previous life, I wouldn't have had a good ending either. To have my soul swapped into the body of a poodle? It was too terrifying. The more I thought about it, the colder I felt. I rushed to my computer to search for all the information I could find about Sebastian Thorne. Finally, amidst a sea of dry financial news, I found an article related to his private life from 3 years ago. The childhood sweetheart and girlfriend of the Thorne Group's CEO, Sebastian Thorne, a Miss Honey, has passed away in a serious traffic accident. Due to the severity of the accident, her body was severely damaged. Notably, the white poodle she always kept was unharmed and even ran back to the Thorne residence on its own after the accident. Reading this, I shivered. It was all clear. So after Honey died, her soul didn't dissipate immediately, but for some reason, it entered the pet dog she kept, the white poodle. For the past 3 years, Sebastian had been trying everything to help Honey escape the dog's body. And if I wasn't mistaken, in the previous life, it was me. And in this life, it was Vivian. We were both the people he had chosen to become the vessel for Honey's soul. Transferring Honey's soul into a normal human body, and then pushing that person's soul into the dog's body, that would complete her soul's salvation. How disgusting. But why did Sebastian have to hold a wedding? Could it be that the ceremony was just a cover for the real plan? After I ended the video call, what did Vivian go through? Had the soul swap been successful? The more I thought, the more uneasy I became, completely unsure of what to do next. Just then, my phone suddenly rang. It was Vivian calling. Without thinking, I immediately rejected the call. In this life, I had tried to stay away from all of it. I didn't want to get involved with them anymore. With that thought, I sent a leave request to my company, planning to take my annual vacation at this opportunity to get away for a while. After sending it, I immediately packed my luggage, intending to book a flight out of the city. But just as I was about to leave the house, the doorbell rang. My heart pounded. I went to check. The person standing at the door was Vivian. Her face was emotionless as she continued to knock on the door coldly. "Cassie, I know you're in there." "Open the door." I took a deep breath. "Vivian, aren't you supposed to be becoming the CEO's wife? I shouldn't appear and spoil the mood. Let me wish you a happy marriage in advance." Hearing the words happy marriage, Vivian immediately lost control. She screamed from outside the door. "Cassie, open the door. You bitch, you dared to set me up. I know you've been reborn too. No wonder you didn't raise that poodle, didn't fight for projects at the company, and didn't even give Sebastian a second glance. It turns out you already knew that pervert wanted to use my body. You even deliberately pushed me into the fire pit. You filthy, despicable thing." Hearing her words become more and more outrageous, I knew that leaving her outside the door like this wouldn't solve anything. I had to open the door and let her in. The moment she saw me, Vivian's eyes were filled with resentment, and she lunged to attack me. "It's all your fault. It's all your fault, you bitch. It was you who tricked me into becoming the CEO's wife." Seeing her crazed state, I lost my patience and forcefully pushed her hand away. "It's because you're insatiably greedy. What does it have to do with me? Stop your act in front of me." "Act?" Hearing that, a flash of madness appeared in Vivian's eyes. She suddenly pulled the white wedding dress out of her bag and forced it onto me. Then she turned and screamed towards the door. "Mr. Thorne, come in. I've caught Cassie for you. This time your white moonlight can finally be saved." As she finished, several men in black immediately rushed in from outside and used a cloth to cover my mouth and nose. I only felt a wave of dizziness, and then I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself tied up in the Thorne family's villa. In front of me, beside Sebastian and that white poodle, Vivian was kneeling not far away, crying and begging. "Mr. Thorne, my body is not suitable, but I've tricked Cassie here for you. As long as you and your white moonlight finish the soul swap, please, I'm begging you to let me go." Sebastian laughed coldly and turned to look at the poodle. It also let out a cold laugh, opened its terrifying mouth, and spoke in a disdainful voice. "It's not that your body isn't suitable, it's that it's too dirty. You've slept with so many men, your negative aura is too heavy. If I swap into you, it will harm my soul. But your friend Cassie is much cleaner. She's still a virgin. How rare. A clean body like that is worthy of my noble soul." As it spoke, Sebastian gave a signal, and a mystic walked in, wearing a long robe, mumbling incantations as he walked. After finishing, he came before Sebastian and said in a deep voice, "Mr. Thorne, to increase the success rate of the soul swap, Miss Honey has spent the last half a month with Vivian. Her body has been infused with the spirit's aura. If we switch people now, the possibility of failure is very high." Sebastian frowned. "What do you mean?" The mystic turned and glanced at the trembling Vivian. The safest way is still to continue using Vivian for the soul swap. Hearing this, Vivian froze. She stumbled a few steps and then immediately knelt before the poodle, begging, "Miss Honey, please spare me. I'm not clean. I've slept with many people. I even have Ivy. If you possess my body, you will live in pain and sickness for the rest of your life." The poodle, hearing this, immediately showed its disgust, and, without hesitation, pointed a paw at me. "No, I want this body. I've waited for this day for 3 years. It must be a healthy body." The mystic sighed. "In that case, I can only do my best. But if it fails, we will have to wait another 3 years for the next opportunity." The poodle nodded decisively. "I've decided. Use her." It pointed its paw at me again. I lifted my head and stared at Sebastian, my face expressionless. "Mr. Thorne, I don't know what you and your white moonlight have been through, But for you to casually choose an innocent person to harm like this, are you really not afraid of karma? Sebastian, hearing this, looked impatient. Only lower-class people like you believe in things like karma. I only believe in human power. Vivian, hearing this, immediately chimed in, scolding me. That's right. Mr. Thorne is absolutely right. What karma? To be chosen to swap souls with Miss Honey is your good fortune. How dare you mention karma? You idiot. Not finished venting her anger, she came closer to me and lowered her voice with venomous resentment. This was your fate in the last life anyway. I was just too stupid to save you early, letting you escape and be reborn. Now, this is great. I'm just returning the fate that should have been yours. With that, she roughly pulled me in front of the mystic and shoved me down. Mystic, begin! The mystic immediately sprinkled some strange liquid on me, then pulled me up onto the black cross. The white poodle also slowly approached, standing opposite me. However, just as the ritual was about to begin, the poodle suddenly let out a pained shriek, as if going mad, and began to back away repeatedly. It hurts! Help me, it hurts. Sebastian Thorne rushed to hug the dog, flusteredly trying to soothe it, then turned to question the mystic. What's going on? What's happening? The mystic hurried over to examine me. The moment he saw the amulet I was wearing around my neck, his expression changed instantly. Where did this come from? How do you have this? I held up the amulet and sneered. Mystic Chan, I heard that years ago you were expelled from the Orthodox Taoist monastery for using heretical arts, and since then, you've been doing dirty work for the rich. To protect my life, I went to your old monastery and asked for a protective amulet. While I'm at it, let me remind you, those who commit many evil deeds will sooner or later face retribution. From the moment I was reborn, I had suspected that this mystic was the one behind everything, so I had secretly investigated him and gone to his old monastery for help. When I told them everything, the mystics in the monastery were filled with remorse, feeling they were at fault for letting him harm people. They had decided to personally intervene. It would only be a few more days before they arrived to deal with this apostate. Hearing me finish, the mystic's face turned ashen. You went to see my senior brothers at the monastery? What did you tell them? No, this is bad. Mr. Thorne, I have to withdraw. I have to go abroad and hide. With that, he turned and was about to run. But Sebastian, who had waited for 3 years to bring his white moonlight back from a dog's body into a human one, how could he accept that? You're not leaving. Today, no matter what, you have to make Honey human again. Do you know how tired I am of living with a dog? Do you know how terrible her stench is? I can't take it anymore. Hearing this, the poodle shrieked madly, running around the room as if possessed. Sebastian, what did you say? You dare to say I stink. 3 years ago, if it weren't for your betrayal, I wouldn't have driven off to catch you in the act. Gotten into an accident and ended up in this state. Not quite human, not quite dog, and now you dare to complain about me. Sebastian's face was grim. Pushed to his limit, he reflexively covered his nose. Even if I was at fault, do you have any idea how bad the smell of dog urine on you is? Every day, I have to hypnotize myself just to be able to hug you. Now that the mystic finally has a way to help you become human again, you should just accept it. A body with HIV, as dirty as it is still better than being a dog. Honey, hearing this, completely collapsed, rushing around and howling nonstop. Sebastian had also lost his patience. He made a decisive decision. Mystic, if we can't do the soul swap with Cassie because of the amulet, then use Vivian. The initial spell was cast on her anyway. The transfer will be easier. The mystic, trembling, replied, Yes, Mr. Thorne. But after it's done, don't forget the money you promised. This time, I've really brought a great disaster upon myself. I'll probably have to go abroad to seek refuge. Don't you worry, Mystic. As long as you help Honey escape this dog's body and become human again, I'll pay you however much you want, Sebastian promised, patting his chest. Hearing this, Honey completely broke down, screaming as if possessed. No, I don't want that dirty body. I don't want it. Before she could finish her sentence, a piercing, tragic shriek rang out. I turned my head in shock and saw that, at some point, Vivian had gotten her hands on a sharp dagger. Taking advantage of Honey's frantic state, she had unexpectedly plunged it deep into the poodle's body. Blood immediately gushed out, staining its white fur red. "Honey!" Sebastian screamed in horror, pointing at Vivian. You bitch! You dare to harm her! I'll kill you." Vivian maintained her twisted and crazed smile, clutching the dagger in her hand and stared at Sebastian. "Enough! You've been disgusted with this dog for a long time, haven't you? I saw it clearly. Every time you hugged it, you would use hand sanitizer to wash your hands afterwards. Now that I've helped you get rid of it, isn't that a good thing? Besides, it's just a dog. Even if the police come, they can't do anything to me." Sebastian stood frozen, and for a long time, he couldn't find the words to rebut. Meanwhile, the poodle was getting weaker and weaker, but its cursing voice was thick with hatred. "You bitch, even as a ghost, I won't let you go? Sebastian, I hate you. It's all your fault for putting me in this situation. In my next life, I will definitely come back for revenge." Thwack! Sebastian, not waiting for it to finish, rushed forward and kicked the dog hard, sending it flying into the wall. A large mouthful of blood spewed from its mouth. Its head lolled to one side, and it stopped breathing on the spot. Just then, the police broke down the door and rushed in, arresting everyone at the scene. It turned out that Vivian was the one who had called the police. But because of Sebastian's special status, it took the police a considerable amount of time to get a warrant and act. By the time they arrived, the scene had been cleaned up. Besides the corpse of a dog, there was nothing unusual. Vivian knew that no one would believe such a bizarre story, so she just said she had made a mistake in calling. She was quickly released. She had just stepped out of the police station gate, not yet having had the chance to turn back and laugh mockingly at me, when suddenly a truck from the other side of the road sped towards her, crashing straight into her. Vivian died on the spot. I was lucky to escape, because I was pulled back just in time by a mystic, the one who had come to arrest the other one. After composing myself, I immediately thanked the mystic, then went back to the police station to report Sebastian for murder and obstruction of justice. The police followed my testimony and found some evidence. Sebastian went completely mad. I heard that one night he dreamt that hundreds of dogs were coming for him in revenge. In a panic, he ran while screaming, slipped, and fell down the stairs, hitting his spine hard and becoming permanently disabled. From then on, he could only lie paralyzed in bed. Even so, he lived in fear every day, constantly screaming, "There's a dog biting me!" He didn't dare to sleep, didn't dare to close his eyes, and completely lost his mind. The Thorn Group also quickly changed hands, being divided up by the shareholders and becoming a meal on someone else's table. As for me, after all of this, I decided to leave the city, change my job, move to a strange place, and start over from the beginning, living a completely new life, peaceful and free from nightmares. The story ends here. Thank you for listening and following.